Aquaman issue 3, Jeremy Adams writing with John Timms on the art. Now, what the hell is this book, Matt? Because it feels like it's been written to try and turn me away at every possible stage.
And for me, I'm going like, oh, we're getting more water mythology? Let's go.
Now, I don't care about all this King Arthur bollocks that he's pulling on.
Yeah, do I pretend to know where it's going and how it gets back to the Omega Gate? And is that just a coincidence? Or what is going on? I don't know.
There's so much of this issue, which is the characters vaguely saying, oh, if you want to save Mira, your family in Atlantis, you'll have to, deal with these villains and stuff first. But I'm like, okay, but are we in a different Earth? Are we on a different planet? Are we, where are we? There's so many, vague parts of this right now for me.
So here's my take on this, right? So we've seen in Swamp Thing that Swamp Thing can go into the green, right?
Yes.
And in Animal Man, he was able to go into the red.
Right.
Arthur's definitely in this new aspect that Adams has thrown in here called the blue, which seems to be the nature of hope and water and what water represents, which I'm still not clear.
No. I definitely picked up on him setting up the blue as a counterpoint to the red and the green, and the idea that the blue is needed for all the other things to exist. That's all fine. That's a fine idea. I'm on board.
Right.
But is this inside the blue? I don't think it is, because they're literally going to other planets, or they're going up to the moon or whatever.
Right, and that's where I'm trying to remember how different artists have processed the green and the red, and to me it feels very similar. It feels very alien here, so it wouldn't surprise me if Arion and the Lady of the Lake and these other people are avatars of the blue in the way that Animal Man and Beast Boy are for the red, and then all the other plant characters are over the years that we've gotten. Swamp Thing, Ivy, Woodrow, all that type of stuff. And these are, they're in there now, and they're trying to guard it from whatever Dagon is, right?
Dagon, and Dagon's not a word that's been made up for this, obviously. Dagon's like a classic mythology thing for it's water based. There's even a crappy horror movie called Dagon from 2001, which sucked. But it's not that I expect there to be explanations for everything yet. I totally get some things being a mystery, but at the very least, I don't even think it feels like the villain has even implied that they cared or took Atlantis. It would be very nice for at least to have some understanding that they did this, because right now it feels like they could turn around and say at the end of this arc, oh, you've beat Dagon, but Dagon had nothing to do with why Atlantis disappeared.
No.
Because right now it doesn't feel like it's connected all that much to me.
No. It's definitely a hat on a hat type thing. But yeah, I'm not going to pretend to know where I think what's going on in the full story. I'm just getting the breadcrumbs of the pieces here. And I did get a little annoyed when the mermaids show up. All right, because that's a little bit, again, we're putting a hat on a hat here. We're doing a little too much.
Well, yeah, the tease early on that Dagon's got his Charlie's Angels of evil that he sends out to do his bidding. And it turns out one of them is that mermaid that used to date Superman, which they conveniently just reminded us existed in World's Finest over a few issues.
Yeah.
So, okay. I can't say I was that excited to see her in that book, and I'm not exactly thrilled about it in this book either. I love also that in this book, the Aquaman book, the only description they have for this character to make her relevant, the only notable thing about her is, oh, she dated Superman for a bit.
Oh, because that's what it is, right? She posed as a college student and dated Clark. That was it. She's in I don't even think she's in an arc's worth of stuff from the Silver Age. So, that was just, she was always a trivia thing.
Yeah, and maybe Adams here will do something and give her her own identity, and she'll be a character in her own right by the time things are through. I mean, I did like the flashbacks. I will say that I liked the flashbacks to Arthur being a kid and helping his dad fix the lighthouse and feeling accomplished because they saved a boat from crashing on the rocks. That stuff is good. It's probably where I like the art the most. As much as I was comparing Tim's art to the Miranda art from before, I do think Tim's is the better of the two. As much as I think there's some similarities, I do think this is a bit better than that. But some of the stuff here just feels so random to me. Like, when we get to the present day stuff, and Arthur like has climbed the ice, and he like comes up to the top of this like ice wall, and there's like a circle with like an altar in the middle for magic spells. I'm like, what is any of this? Like, it's just random fantasy bollocks.
Well, yeah, it's where the Lady of the Lake forged Excalibur, right?
Yeah, they build a weapon, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but I don't care about Lady of the Lake and Excalibur.
But I do, which frustrates me more.
So I felt very like I'm not dropping the book, because I do suspect that even if I don't really like most of this first arc, I suspect that I will enjoy what Adams does afterwards, as long as it doesn't just stay next to all this King Arthur bollocks for extended times. Because I don't hate the idea of the blue to go with the red and the green and the rot and all the rest of it. I think that's a fine idea to introduce that and say that water's this important thing that exists beyond just like its physical form. Sure, right? I'm on board. Them building him an Excalibur of sorts, and then Aquaman being taken by the evil mermaids to Dagon at the end. I like that stuff. I'm just kind of whatever on.
I just now realized that because I watched The Nice Guys again this last week.
Sure.
I love that movie, and I just realized where did Arthur go? It was like you got to question the mermaids. Like that just dawned on me right now.
Yeah, the final page is that apparently to go up to the little water moon that's in the sky, they've got this like almost just like magical river that's flowing up to it, because Dagon's stolen all the water for himself, you see, so he's got like a water planet or water moon up in the sky, and that's where they're going. Which, if I go back a few pages actually to when they showed up, like
they come through a lightning strike.
Yeah, it's like a portal almost, right?
So why are we on a ship?
Yeah, why do we have to go on a boat to go back up to the waterman? I mean,
it's a pretty metal looking ship. Like this looks like the stuff that Amon Amarth writes songs about.
Yeah, but I think that's my problem here, is that I feel like a lot of this is just like, oh, this will be cool, and I love King Arthur, so we'll put King Arthur stuff in this.
Look, I've trusted Adams enough that I feel like this will come through. But at this point, I remember finishing reading this, and it was like, what the hell just happened? like we got the blue that stuck out.
It just
but yes, I agree. It's very, very weird.
It needs something to ground it a little bit, and right now I just don't feel like it has that. And I really hope that when we get to arc number 2, we establish things a bit better, or we become a bit more conventional, just so that there's actually just by default a bit more of a grounding. I don't know, but all of this, like, we're in a different world and we're fighting Dagon. I mean, Dagon as a villain for Aquaman sounds fine on paper because it's a water-based villain, but all of this shit is just, I don't know, I was not feeling it.
Well, and also Arthur being worried that he's gonna be a vessel for Darkseid because of the Omega Gates. Like, where's that coming from? Because they're talking about the Dark Tide and whatnot.
It referenced the Free Comic Book Day special from last year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Or the All In special, whatever one it was.
It was the All In.
Yeah. I don't know. But he does also say, or is the gate just a coincidence? And I'm like, well, if it is a coincidence, then that's annoying as a reader, because like.
Well, and then you look at the cover and it's got Arthur's eyes with red with the Omega Gate in them. And it definitely is frustrating as a reader because it feels like none of it matters.
Yeah, it feels like shoehorned in because they're maybe going to do something related to all that stuff later. But right now it doesn't really feel like it's actually relevant to anything that's going on. Like why was there a gate with an Omega symbol that led to the blue or whatever we are? That doesn't seem to have anything to do with what's going on with the dark side or the absolute universe. It's just all this own stuff. Like, all of it just feels a little bit weird and disjointed, and I just like I'm looking forward to pivoting to a new arc, which is a horrible thing to say 3 issues into an arc that's probably going to be 6 issues long, but I'm looking forward to the second arc.
I just want to see what other water gods and goddesses and whatever show up, because it was kind of reminding me of the Kelly Sue version where we had Arthur coming to terms with the gods and living on that island where he had amnesia and whatnot, and I liked most of that. I think it was handled a lot.
That was really good. Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what Jeremy Adams' spin on all that is. to where it goes, but it could definitely fall flat.
Because here's the thing. So we read him write Flash, and we're reading him write a lot of Green Lantern right now, and he's very good at that, right? I'm loving his Green Lantern. And I think part of what works about Green Lantern is he clearly loves a lot of that part of the universe where he knows a lot of the characters, he knows the history of all those characters, and he uses parts of it to play it and do interesting things with it, just like having Red Lanterns who are not Red Lanterns anymore, and what are they now? Really smart, fun ways of thinking, okay, what can I do with this? But here with Aquaman, it feels like he's throwing in all this King Arthur stuff, and as someone who does not care about that and doesn't really know it that well, I don't think he's doing a particularly good job of like making it accessible for anyone who doesn't happen to already care or know about it. So I think maybe that's where a fault lies here with Adams. I don't know if that's a fault he's always going to have, and it's just because everything else he's done is all stuff that's baked into just DC that I know about, so it's never an issue. But here with this, I'm feeling this kind of alienating, just kind of like, what is this? Why are we doing this? I don't know if you've justified any of this, but...
Yeah, they're definitely doing stuff with the gods too, because there's some mention here of like Poseidon and Athena and all that other stuff too. So I'm wondering if that's the tie ultimately.
Yeah.
Right, to the gods and the new gods and Arthur and whatever. However, I don't want to think that Adams is simply tying Arthur to King Arthur because of their similar names. You know?
Oh, I hope not.
So hopefully there's a lot more going on there, and we'll get to there. But yeah, again, I trust him enough to see where this goes, but I am a little bit annoyed by it just because I don't know how this is all adding up. And again, why did they take the ship? Like, why couldn't they just go back through the way they came? They're mermaids, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And the other characters, of course, like finish their weapon, are like, wait, where did Aquaman go? Oh no! He's been taken. Rats.
Not again. That's their complete vibe, right? Oh no, not again.
All right. What are you rating Aquaman?
I'm gonna give this, and it's gonna seem high, but I'm gonna give this a 7.
Yeah, it does seem high. What are you talking about? Nah, 6 for me. Like, it's definitely like it looks solid enough. I like the flashback, so I like how he writes the dialogue for the most part and stuff like that. But I do not care for what the current direction is and what we're doing and how weird it is, and just, you know, like, I mean, you can do a story where Aquaman gets taken to somewhere else, and we can do a very unconventional Aquaman story. But I think you have to give me a little bit of a more solid mystery or concept as to like what it is. It just feels so disjointed and random right now.